One.
3, 2, 1. There it is. Welcome in. Husker Extra Podcast. I'm Parker. There's Sipple. It's Friday afternoon. We're thinking that we're going to be joined by Baz in progress here at some point once he gets done calling the Hogs. Do you want to? Should we begin the proceedings as we typically do with a woo pig suey?
We don't begin the proceedings that way. No.
You might not, but it's always the last thing I do before the podcast.
They were doing it in the crowd today at Fayetteville. Did you notice?
Oh yeah,
that?
They were. I did. Oh heck yeah.
So yeah,
that
they were
place
getting
is packed.
Yeah, it looks beautiful down there too.
Mm-hmm. It certainly does.
So Baz, it does. It looked beautiful. The sun's shining. There's a lot of people.
Yep.
They were getting pressed, but I think they opened it up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Arkansas.
The last I saw was 10-3.
Arkansas was 3-3 into the third.
It was 3-0. It was 3-0, and actually, the New Jersey Institute of Technology had 2 on and 2 out with a 3-2 lead in the top of the fourth, maybe. And Dave Van Horn brought on Cops, their closer, with 2 outs, and a guy absolutely tagged the ball to center field.
Really?
Off of Cops, yeah, would have scored 2 runs with 2 outs, and their center fielder made like a full out straight back diving catch.
Hello.
Wiped 2 runs off the board to keep it at 3-2 instead of it going to 5-2, and then homered to lead off the next inning and tie the game.
Wow.
Christian Franklin, I think his name is. Good player.
Okay, well, then we're talking on 4:49. Nebraska plays at 7:00 tonight.
Yep.
Against Northeastern, which is located in Boston. In fact, they play a mile away. They play their games a mile away from Fenway.
There you go. I didn't know that.
I didn't know where Northeastern was at the beginning of the week.
So it's like a nor'easter. That's what they say up there, right?
Did you know it was in Boston?
I didn't know it was in Boston.
Yeah, they play just a mile away from Fenway.
Right on the Brookline or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
We want to talk football.
Yeah. Let's talk football until Baz gets here, assuming that he gets here in the next. He's driving to Fayetteville. So.
Or do you want to talk NBA? Do you want to talk Lillard? Is that what?
Let's not talk about Lillard. Let's not talk about your former guy. Emphasis on former king being eliminated.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about any of that. On a more leisurely podcast, we can talk about that. But we got stuff to get to because it's a busy weekend on the recruiting front. Here in Lincoln, I'm leaving in like 30 minutes to head toward Friday Night Lights #1 in Lincoln. The Nebraska's got 8 official visitors, and they've extended at least one scholarship offer today out of a workout. So there's a lot going on. We're basically just going to talk football and talk recruiting until Baz gets here. We'll get the rundown on what's going to be obviously a big weekend in Fayetteville at the regional, and then we'll call it quits. Probably short today, but maybe we'll have to make up for it next week or something like that. Simple. There's a lot going on, and a lot's going to change by the time the weekend's over. So this is just sort of like a quick late Friday primer to get you going into your weekend. And here in Lincoln, it's the first week, obviously, just like it is all over the country, of the dead period being lifted after more than a year. It's a huge basketball recruiting weekend. They've got a couple 4-stars, a couple 5-stars on campus. Isaac Trout from Grand Island is making his official visit this weekend. They've got some like real dudes in. Simeon Wilcher, who's the younger brother of CJ Wilcher, who just transferred in from Xavier. Simeon Wilcher is one of the best players in the 23 class. He's on campus for an unofficial. So there's a lot happening on that front. Football-wise, 8 official visitors. We can talk about any of them that you're interested in. Simple. We've also got a rundown of who they are on the Journal Star's website. And interestingly, also, they worked out a bunch of kids today, and they offered a scholarship out of it. Jordan Vandenberg is a defensive lineman from Iowa Western. They just played this spring in April, but he's eligible to. He's a full qualifier. He just played his freshman year. He's got 4 years of eligibility left, but he's eligible to jump right to a Power 5 school this summer. Nebraska likes him. They offered him today after he worked out. He's camping at Iowa tomorrow and Penn State later in June. So I don't think the offers are done rolling in for him, but it's just sort of like every couple hours, there's something else that pops up on the recruiting front because of the beginning.
Parker, it's June 4th.
Yeah.
We knew June was going to be big. You knew you were going to be busy. At this point, I'm starting to think I need to jump in and help with some of the reporting. You're doing fine, but man, it is probably all you thought it would be and more, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it's multifaceted, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, they're working out kids that are like Braden Lofton, for example, is a kid from, he's from Omaha. He played last year at Lewis Central. He's playing again this fall at Lewis Central in Council Bluffs. You know, he worked out for the staff today. So a guy like that who he could end up having a really good senior year and get an offer right, down the way somewhere. That's a possibility. All the way through having a guy who they probably want to be their quarterback in the class, Richard Torres, on campus right now, all the way through to offering a guy like Jordan Vandenberg who could be back and starting summer school at wherever he commits to in the next few weeks. And then, oh, by the way, they got a former five-star recruit and an Ohio State transfer defensive back, Tyreek Johnson, on campus for an official visit, midweek. And so, that's you sort of when you laid it out before June, you said, okay, ideally they'll look at a lot of kids. They'll get to see a lot of kids in person. A lot of kids will take their official visits. And, oh, yeah, they might also fill their 2 spots left for 2021. You just didn't, 2 of the candidates, it would seem at this point, for those 2 spots, Tyreek Johnson and this Jordan Vandenberg, are on campus in the first 4 days of the month, so that it's just an interesting time. It's a very active time. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes because the train's not slowing down until the dead period hits again, June 28th.
And I mean, without going too far with the conversation, you would say Nebraska at this point appears to be in pretty good position with Tyreek Johnson.
I think so. I mean, the fact that he came here right when the dead period opened, did the, full official visit, a couple of days, he's here Wednesday, Thursday. I think he left campus probably this morning. My understanding of it, things change, right? I mean, one phone call can change a lot in recruitment, but my understanding of it is that he doesn't have other visits set up at this point. So he's got time. That doesn't necessarily mean anything's imminent, especially when, you've got pedigree like he does. If he wants to take other visits, I'm sure that will be a possibility for him. But as it stands right now, leaving campus, certainly, Nebraska looks like they're in a pretty good position there.
Yeah, he's now what we're hearing is he's ostensibly a corner, but he could be a safety.
Right.
So we don't know exactly where Nebraska wants him. He, as you have pointed out, he has 3 years.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the top group at Ohio State, which is why he's here. He played high school ball for a time with Dante Williams, which is why he's here too, probably. Right?
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. He played high school football with Deontay Williams in like 2015, like a long time ago.
Yeah, that's
back when Deontay Williams was just a young man. But because Deontay Williams went, he was an SEC recruit. Then he went to junior college, got hurt in junior college. Then he was a JUCO transfer in Nebraska's 2018 class. So now, because of injury, redshirt, extra year, he's going into his 4th season with Nebraska this year, 18, 19, 20, now 21. So, yeah, he was a 2016, class of 2016 recruit, I think, originally out of high school before he ended up in JUCO. So, but Tyreek Johnson, 5-star guy coming out of high school, when I was doing some research on him back when he first actually went in the portal a few weeks ago, the story that popped up was like a Bleacher Report story about how Urban Meyer offered Tyreek Johnson a scholarship to Ohio State when he was in 8th grade.
8th grade.
So he's one of those guys. I mean, he was a blue chipper in high school. Obviously, he didn't break through and play extensively in Ohio State secondary, played in 12 games over the past 2 years. Like you mentioned, Sipple has 3 years of eligibility left. So it's interesting when you think about Nebraska's secondary, you think about it as a strength. For 2021, you think about it as an area of strength. And it is basically. They've got 2 seniors at safety in Williams and Markel Dismuke. Cam Taylor-Britt might be the best player on the roster at one corner. They really, I think, like and trust Quentin Newsome and Braxton Clark at the other corner. After that, the depth at safety maybe is a little bit, but Travis Fisher likes the potential of Miles Farmer, who's played a little bit now, and Noah Pola-Gates. At corner, it's a little bit of a different conversation because after those top 3, you've got Nadab Joseph, you've got Taman Lynham, and you've got Marquise Buford. Lynham and Buford are freshmen. They're both hurt during the spring, and Joseph got hurt late in the spring as a junior college guy who still just hasn't played a lot of real live football over the past 3 years. So they've got bodies, and they've got guys whose talent they like, but they don't have like a lot of experienced depth after what looks like a really good top line. So that's sort of like Tyreek Johnson. And then don't forget in this conversation, in the 2020 recruiting class alone, Nebraska lost 3 defensive backs to the transfer portal: Henry Gray, Ronald Delancey, and Jaden Francois. So it's like, it doesn't jump out to you as an obvious, like, hey, Nebraska's got to plug a hole at defensive back, because that's not really the situation. But they don't have a ton of functional high-end depth beyond their top line. And a bunch of those guys are going to leave after this year. In fact, 3 of them for sure are Williams, Dismuke, and Taylor-Britt. So it's a 2021 play, but it's a depth play beyond that too.
That was a perfect summation. Now, the other story that you've written this week that of more, I'd say, I guess I'd call it of more local interest, was Jake Applegate.
Yeah.
The Lincoln Southeast. We're going to call him a linebacker. I would say an outside linebacker. He worked out for Nebraska on day 1 of this period opening, and then immediately drew a scholarship offer. And it looks like his recruitment will heat up, right?
Yep. Yeah, he worked out for Nebraska, picked up an offer on June 1st, and then on June 2nd, participated in a camp at the University of Minnesota, picked up an offer there too. So he went from a no-ranking 2-star guy to having 2 Big Ten West offers in 48 hours. And that's just, it's funny. There's a couple points I guess I would make on that. One is that's pretty impressive for Jake Applegate to take advantage of the opportunity given to him that quickly. And then the other thing is, like, I hear a lot of people say, like, I've got to ask this a lot, like, is Nebraska going to get any 4-star recruits in this class? Like, why are they recruiting this guy? He's a low 3-star recruit. And, like, don't get me, like, 24/7 Sports and Rivals, they do a great job and they work really hard. And this is also a more difficult year than maybe any year ever to, like, have accurate rankings on guys right now. They're never perfect, obviously. They're usually pretty good. But this year's a really tough one. So, like, just because Jake Applegate isn't, like, real highly ranked at this point doesn't mean that he's not going to end up a coveted guy this month and on into the summer. And just because a guy might be a 4-star at this point doesn't mean he's going to end up getting recruited by all the heavies either. So I think you'll see a lot of shakeup in that stuff over the next few weeks, but that's just a mini soap.
And look at who's joined us.
5-star all the way.
Yeah.
1-star.
Big time corner.
Half-star.
Big time corner.
Cornerstone.
Half-star. Bad work habits. Lazy.
Look at, where are you? In that hotel. What's that hotel called?
This is the Candlewood Inn and Suites, about a mile north of Baum Stadium, where Nebraska is going to take on Northeastern here in a couple hours.
How was the drive,
It
It was long. Left at about 9:30 this morning and walked into my hotel room 4 minutes ago.
So
a lot of construction going on around Kansas City. A lot of construction going around here north of Fayetteville. A lot of standstill traffic.
Sounds great.
Okay.
It was arduous, I would say. I call it arduous.
It was an arduous journey.
Yeah. It was good practice for this fall. I feel great. I haven't showered for like 2 days. So I feel
that's
good. I smell good. I'm doing well.
Seems like you're thriving.
Things are fine. I'm
Healthy.
good. Yeah, I'm
You
good.
have
I feel great. Couldn't feel better.
I don't know what to say. 5-hour energy, maybe.
Yeah.
You're
Never
gonna have to
forget the
you're gonna have to do
hospitality
the do
situation.
over there at Blom.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the sponsorship situation is at Bomb. We'll find out. I'm gonna guess Coke. We're in Coke country down here, so we'll find out. They're in the media work areas in the Randall Tyson Track and Field Center, so maybe we'll get like some Tyson chicken to go with our Coke.
That would be, hey, white fried chicken and Coke always sounds good to me.
Not bad. You could do a lot worse.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay,
Sounds great. It
Baz,
sounds great.
you got a ball game tonight at 7:00.
We do. Yeah. We got a ball game. Nebraska, Northeast. We also have a ball game going on right now, kind of, a little bit. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but
We talked about it right at the top of the show.
yeah, NJIT making life difficult on the Hogs down here. They were forced to throw their top guy already, Kevin Copps. I see. I'm pulling it up right now. I see the Hogs have the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 7th. So,
And the score is?
it's 10-5.
They should be okay.
It's 10-5. It was 3-0 NJIT. They had the bases loaded, and Arkansas made like a great running catch in the gap to save a couple more runs. Then they brought in Copps, and he shut the door.
That was when Cops came in. That was the first batter he faced. The guy just actually tagged it to center.
Okay, let's ask Baz a tough question right out of the gate, Parker.
Right, do it.
What would represent a successful regional for Nebraska?
Well, winning it. That's not that hard of a question.
Well, okay, but
Outside of winning it, do you mean?
Yeah, short of winning it.
Well, just playing like they have all year. I mean, they're 31-12. You know, they're pretty good. You play like you have all year, and you're going to have a chance to win every game you play here. You know, I think Arkansas has been built up over this week as like this impenetrable monolith that nobody can touch ever. And Nebraska's just got no shot. Why are they even showing up? Sort of thing. And look what happened today. They were down 3-0 in the third inning. You know, it's there for Nebraska if they can play well. And I'm not saying Nebraska's going to win this thing, but play like you did against Michigan, play like you did the weekend before against Ohio State and Indiana, and you're going to have a shot. And that's all you can ask for in the postseason is give yourself a shot. You know, you have to win this first one tonight. I think that goes without saying probably because you're just behind the 8 ball if you lose that first game. So that's why you throw Povich tonight. You need Cade Povich to do what he's done all year, and you should win that game. And then you get to tomorrow and you figure it out. And if that means you're playing Arkansas at night in Baum Stadium, which is absolutely no picnic, then that's what it is. But it's not this impossible mountain that Nebraska has to climb. They can do damage down here, but they have to play like they have the vast majority of this year. And if they do that, win or lose, I'd call that a successful weekend.
Okay, one other question. In recent NCAA tournament appearances, Nebraska, the issue largely has been lack of offense. What makes this team different, in your opinion?
They have more ways to score. They have more ways to move runners. They're not afraid to steal. They play what would now be considered an unconventional style, I would say. You know, they're not afraid to bunt. They're not afraid to bunt for a hit. They're not afraid to steal bases, to put guys in motion, hit and run and hit. They've stolen home this year in a game. And it's not an offense that's reliant on maybe 1 or 2 guys having good games every week. They have guys up and down the order that have done damage for them. They have several guys with home runs. You obviously have your big bats in the middle, and we all know who those are, you know, with Spencer Schwellenbach, you know, Max Sanderson, guys like that. Jackson Hallmark at the top of that lineup. Joe Ackers had a really nice year. They have kind of the power bats, but it's not like they're relying on those same 2, 3, 4 guys every week. They have different guys that can hurt you. So if it is Arkansas tomorrow that Nebraska ends up playing, should they win tonight, it's not like they're going to say, you know what, we don't have much of a chance unless Spencer Schwellenbach gets 3 hits. That's just not how they play. They can do it a lot of different ways. I think that's maybe the biggest difference between this team and like you mentioned, some of those past teams where they were just so reliant on a couple of big bats to try and score their runs for them.
All right.
And it's interesting too, because like there's history working against them too, right? Like you go back 2 years ago and think about what happened. They were playing Oklahoma State at night. Oklahoma State's the top seed in that regional, and Nebraska's up 5-0 late, and they look like you're in the driver's seat. And Oklahoma State just hits a titanic home run off of Colby Gomez, who was probably Nebraska's best pitcher at the time. He was their closer. And you go back to the years before that, you go back to since the CWS year in 05, and I think the record's 5-14 in regionals, something like that. And that's with, they just haven't had a lot of success, and they've lost to, the Yales and the Holy Crosses of the world, teams like that. This is no gimme tonight. They need to go take care of business. And you're playing a team that's 36-10, that won its conference tournament, that has confidence, that plays a similar brand of baseball to what you do. They're going to try and steal bases, put pressure on the defense, those sorts of things. Nebraska's going to have to play well. We can talk about successful weekend and potentially playing Arkansas and things like that, but they got to beat Northeastern tonight first. Let's worry about that. I think that's a big reason why you saw Will Bolt stick with Cade Povich tonight. They're throwing the ace tonight, because you have to win the first one. You just have to, or it's so taxing and so hard to try and come back through the bracket if you lose that first game.
Hey, Bass, you were at that Oklahoma City game, right?
I was.
Yeah, that guy smoked that home run like through the scoreboard.
Yeah, it was a Bricktown ballpark. They couldn't play at Stillwater because there was like flooding at the field in Stillwater or something. So they moved it to Bricktown down in Oklahoma City, and Colby Gomez comes in and is throwing cheddar, throwing 95, 96. And their big bopper stepped up, and it was, from the second you heard the sound, it was a no doubter. And there's these big letters out in left field that say Bricktown Ballpark, and he hit it through, I forget which letter it was, but it put a hole right through the letter. It was a monster. It was a no doubt shot. And that
Colby Gomez. So his arm's hurt. Is that why he's not pitching this year?
Yeah, had some shoulder surgery in the off season. Was wearing a brace for the early part of the year. He's had the brace off the last few weeks and just going through recovery. So he'll be back next year. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a huge, if he comes back like he was, that's a huge piece for that program. He was good. He's good pitching.
Well, yeah, especially if you're considering you're losing your closer after this year, who's probably going to get drafted in the first 2-3 rounds of the draft somewhere.
Hello.
Yellow. Schwello, more like Schwello. Chance more for like Spencer Schwellenbach. I just about fell over my chair there. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Man, I went down.
That's okay.
No, this is a chance for Spencer Schwellenbach too, right? Like he's going to be on the national stage. And he's a dude. We've all seen him play. But you can add this to the list of things that maybe hurt the Big Ten by playing a conference-only schedule. There's not a lot of people outside the Big Ten that have seen him. And certainly Nebraska fans know how good he is. Certainly the people in the Big Ten know how good he is. He's named the Big Ten Player of the Year. But if he has a big weekend, if he has a big game tonight and say they get Arkansas tomorrow and say, you know what, we're going to start Spencer Schwellenbach on the mound.
Hello.
He goes out. Hello.
Schwello.
He goes out and gives you and just throwing 96, 97, 98 with movement and keeping Nebraska in that game. You're talking about a guy turning himself into a star and making himself a lot of money, potentially. So it's a fascinating weekend, I think, from a lot of different angles.
Yeah.
You can look at the end of, obviously, Dave Van Horn, Will Bolt, the dynamic I wrote about. I mentioned Northeastern, the way they want to steal bases and run, and Nebraska's throwing a guy that's one of the best pickoff pitchers in the country, probably in Cade Povich. So how does Northeastern's offense operate against Nebraska controlling the running game? Nebraska's history in this thing, a chance to beat the number one national seed and make a name for yourself and prove how good you are. There's no shortage of storylines down here.
Yeah, you know what, guys? What we may consider doing is regrouping on Monday and doing this again.
Yeah, I was thinking that. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking we might have to make up for a short one tonight with a double, with a next week double.
Now we'll see where Bazzy's at. Bazzy could be driving back, but
yeah, could be watching an elimination game. Could be watching a championship game Monday too, depending on how the weekend goes.
Okay.
Oh, looks like you've got a nice connection there in the Candlewood Inn and Suites. So
yeah, it's solid. I got a little wind light coming in from the window over here.
You look good. You look like you're glowing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I got a stove here. I got a bit full size fridge.
Oh man,
microwave. So Might go shoot me a feral razorback and grill up some pork chops at some point this weekend.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Looks like there's about 12,000 feral razorbacks over at Baum Stadium, but maybe be nicer to them.
Yeah, I'll be nice to them. I'm outnumbered. I see Arkansas scored twice more in the bottom of the 7th. It's now 12-5.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
I've sort of learned at my age, Baz, and you're starting to advance a little bit. On those trips, you got to be careful what you eat.
Yeah, I know it.
I've run into some problems.
I had a plan today. I was going to stop in Platte City, Missouri, just north of Kansas City. Get a Jimmy John's sandwich. Keep it relatively light. Well, the exit that you take to get to all the restaurants was closed, which I didn't realize. So I ended up going to Arby's later on down the line.
Oh, gut bomb.
Oh, gut bomb. Been sat in standstill traffic on 435 going around KC for a while.
Nice.
Then I made a stop in Nevada, Missouri for gas. It's been I've had to battle some adversity today. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like to talk about it. I'm not gonna sit here and cry woe is me, but it's we got through it, and we're gonna go to the game tonight. We're gonna get through it again, and we're gonna wake up tomorrow and try one more time.
That's the spirit.
At
least one more time.
Yeah, well, that's a good spot. Let's call it there. Baz has baseball to attend to. I'm headed down to Friday Night Lights. Whenever you listen to this, you can find coverage from all of that stuff at huskerextra.com. Simple. You're shaking your head. You have something else we need to get to?
No, I'm just thinking about the young Bulls that got to do a lot of work tonight.
The young Bulls. Why don't you go over to Friday Night Lights, Sip? Make your presence known.
Because I gotta figure out ESPN3 with tricks.
Tell Mario you want to throw the ball around a little bit on Friday Night Lights.
If you can get
I got a bad shoulder. I got a bad shoulder. You know that. I got a bad shoulder.
Well, you can maybe just, are you going to be able to get through the mailbag? Will that work still?
Yes, that's what I'm doing. As I'm doing the mailbag.
Well, it's about time. It was only supposed to be in the paper this morning. So
Wow.
All
right. So you can find Sipple's mailbag. You can find coverage from the NCAA regional in Fayetteville from Baz. You got recruiting and Friday Night Lights coverage too, all at huskerextra.com. Maybe we'll swing back on Monday. Don't hold your breath, but we should do it. So let's loosely plan on it. And then we'll be back at the end of next week too, obviously, to talk about what will be another big week. So for Baz in Arkansas, there's Sipple. I'm Parker. Thanks for watching.